Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lesson 10, Module 4. Today we're going to be comparing and evaluating expressions that have parentheses. And we're going to be doing that within the context of our fractions. And so we're kind of mixing it up a little bit today, which is kind of fun. So what I have for you is a few problems that we're going to be taking a look at. Number one, as far as a picture goes, and we're going to write an expression to match a picture. And then we're going to write an expression to match a sentence. And then we're just going to kind of compare some expressions. And that should be it. So the first one I want to take a look at is matching an expression to a picture, to a drawing. And I have this tape diagram here, and it's going to be, gosh, I can do a nicer tape diagram than that. Let me try again. There we go. And I'm going to put that in the fourths. And the whole is going to be 9 plus 11. And I want this right here. Awesome. So if I look at this, the expression that names the whole here is this part right up here, this 9 plus 11, okay? And what I'm going to do is I want to note over here quickly that we're talking about a sum, okay? A sum equals addition. That's what we're talking about here, okay? It's an answer to an addition problem. And what we're doing is we're finding the sum of 9 and 11, right? That's our whole. That's what this whole thing is going to be. The whole thing here is going to be the sum of 9 and 11. And the fractional unit that we're going to have here is, well, because we want to find just these 3 out of these 4, right? And if I split it up into 4, then I'm dealing with fourths, right? And the section that I want, to find out about are these 3 right here. So I really want 3 out of the 4. So I have a sum of 9 and 11, and I want 3 out of the 4, 3/4 of that. So what we want to do then is I want to write myself a numerical expression to solve this. And so if I'm going to do that, I need to first find out what the sum of this is, so I can find out what our total is. So the first thing I need to do is I need to do 9 plus 11. And then once I have that answer, then I can find out what 3/4 of it is. So now looking at this, it's really important that I use parentheses here to make sure that I'm doing this first, right? I have to do this first. That's what those parentheses are telling me to do. Do that first, and then I can multiply by my 3/4. If I didn't do that first, I would be doing my multiplication first, because order of operations, we do multiplication and division first. So then I would really get a different answer. So parentheses tells me that I need to do this first. I needed to do it first because I needed to find the whole, and then I could split it up into my fourths and figure out what 3/4 of those are. So if we evaluate this expression, we would do our 9 plus 11 first, and we would get 20. And then we want to do 20 times 3/4. So we would do 20 times 3 over 4. And then we would cross cancel this guy to give him 1, because 4 goes into 4 one time, and 4 goes into 25 times. And I would do 5 times 3 would equal 15 over 1, and my answer would be 15. That's my product, okay? So we did these ones first because that was our whole, and then we subtract, and then we multiplied to find 3/4. Okay, let's take a look at another example of a diagram. We have this diagram here. This diagram here, though, is going to be slightly different, because in this diagram, I'm not going to know what that whole is. I don't really know. I know I'm going to split it up here into fifths. So I have 5 different pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know that one of these, this guy right here, one of them is going to be 1/3 minus 1/4. So this right here is 1/3 minus 1/4. And I have how many of them? Well, excuse me. I have to do this first. And when we do, we figured out that sum was addition. So what is subtraction? Well, if I'm doing this, subtraction word would be difference. So I want to find the difference of 1/3 and 1/4. And then once I find that out, well, I need that. How many times do I need it? I need that 1, 2, 3, 4. I need that 5 times, don't I? So I need the difference of 1/3 and 1/4, and I need it 5 times. So what I need to do is when I'm writing this numerical expression, I have to make sure that I'm doing this first. I don't want to take 1/4 5 times and then subtract out from 1/3. I don't want to take 1/3 5 times and then subtract out 1/4. I need to make sure that I'm figuring out what one of these units is before I go about multiplying that 5 times. So I'm going to make sure I denote that by putting that into parentheses, a 1/3 minus my 1/4. And then I can multiply 5 times. If I'm going to evaluate this expression, I'm going to need to put these into common denominators. And 3 and 4. If I just do 3 multiplied by 4, I get 12. And that's the closest, that's the lowest factor that they have. So let's put those into 12. So I'm going to have something 12ths minus something 12ths. And whatever that is, I'm going to multiply it by 5. So thirds, if I put my thirds into 12, so that's going to multiply my 3 times 4. So if I do 3 times 4, that's going to give me that 12. So I do the same thing to the top. And 1 times 4 is 4. And over here, my fourths, to turn fourths into 12ths, I need to multiply it by 3. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 3. Multiply the top by 3 is 3. So now I have 4 12ths minus 3 12ths. 4 12ths minus 3 12ths, well, that's 1 12th. That's easy. And 1 12th times 5. Well, if I do that, I could count up by 12ths, right? I could go 1 12th, 2 12ths, 3 12ths, 4 12ths, 5 12ths. And, I could also do 1 times 5 12ths, like that. 1 times 5 is 5, and I get my answer of 5 12ths. Okay? All right. So in this one was different because we had to find the value of one unit, of one fractional unit, and then multiply it by 5 here to get our whole. So our whole is 5 12ths. So up here, it will look like this. 5 12ths. 5 12ths into these groups, and the 5 groups would be 1 12th. Okay? All right, now we're rocking. So the next step is to put things into a word sentence, to sentence words and things, and then do it out from that. So I'm going to pause it, write it up, and I'll be right back. Okay. So here's our problem. You'll notice this is in word form. I have the product of 4 and 2 divided by 3. Awesome. When I look at this, if I write this down, product here, this word here, product is multiplication. Okay. So that's going to tell me I need to multiply. So the product of 4 and 2. So I'm going to be multiplying 4 and 2. And then I'm going to divide by 3. Is it necessary for me to put parentheses in here? No, it's not. When we do our order of operations, we always start left to right, and we multiply and divide at the same rate. So I'm going to multiply these two first and then divide. So I know that I want the product of 4 and 2. I'm starting on left. That's the first thing to do. I don't need to put those in there. So I could write it this way. I could also write it this way, 4 times 2 over 3. Doesn't matter. I could also, I really could do, if I needed to, I could, or if you didn't do it wrong if you put parentheses in there. It's not going to matter. The thing is it's not going to matter. You don't have to do it. So either way, let's evaluate this problem. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 divided by 3, or 8 thirds. Well, 8 divided by 3, you can go 3, 4, 5, 6, right? If I did this, 8 divided by 3, I would do 6, and I would be, how many times? That would be 2 times, right? And I would get 2 left over, and I have 2 divided by 3, so I could say 2 thirds. I could also say if I have 8 thirds, I could go, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 of them in there. So I have these. I have 1 third, 2 third, 3 third, 4 third, 5 third, 6 third, 7 third. There's 8 thirds right there. 3 of them equals a whole. So that's 1 whole there. and that's one whole there, that's one, and that's one, and I have these 2/3. So I could do that too. Either way, my answer is going to be 2 and 2/3. And let's just check. Let's see if that's right. 2 and 2/3. 4 times 2 divided by 3 is 2 and 2/3. If this is what I have here, I should be able to do 2 and 2/3 3 times. So 2 and 2/3 times 3. If I do that, I would have, if I could write that down here, 2 and 2/3. If I do repeated addition, 2, 2/3, 2, 2/3. That would be 2, 4, 6. That would be 6 and 2, 4, 6. 6 and 6/3. And 6/3, 6/3 is 2. That would be 8, and that would be correct. Awesome job. Awesome job. Okay. So now the last thing that we need to do here is, let me get rid of this, is to do some evaluating of expressions and to say, you know, is this one bigger or is this one going to be smaller? Yada, yada, yada. So let me put up here, I'm just going to write it out so it'll save me some time. If I have something like this, like 1/8 the sum of 6 and 14, and I have a circle. And then over here I have 6 plus 14 and divide by 8. Let's say we do this, and in this circle, this is where we're going to do our greater than, less than, or equal to. We're going to compare them, okay? So let's just see what we have here. I have 1/8 the sum of 6 and 14. So if I need to find the sum of 6 and 14. So 6 plus 14, and then I'm finding 1/8 of that. I could draw something out. I could say, let's say I have this. This is my sum of 6 plus 14, and I have it in eighths, right? And I want one of them. Over here, let me draw this out. I have 6 plus 14, right? And I'm dividing it by 8. And that would be, one of them would be my answer, right? So I would say both of these, looks like this is my whole 6 and 14, 6 and 14, and I'm taking 1/8 and I'm taking 1/8. So I would say these two are equal, right? Let's try another one. If we do 4 times 8/3, and I have 4 times the quotient of 3 and 8. Now, this is 4 times 8 divided by 3, isn't it? And over here, this is 4 times the quotient of 3 and 8, right? The quotient of 3 and 8. So are these equal? Quotient of 3 and 8. I'll make sure I got that right. So it looks to me like here I have 8/3 and over here I have 3/8, right? So which one's going to be bigger? Definitely my 8/3, right? Okay. All right. So anyways, you know, this is all about understanding the order of operations and understanding what the understanding exactly what it is that that the operations are saying. Just as a reminder, we have sum, and sum equals addition, right? We have difference, and difference is subtraction. We have product, and that is multiplication, and then we have quotient, and that is division. Cool. Good luck. Post any questions, comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.